Running and gunning since 1999, Lanny Barnes is next.
But first, self-defense and emergencies can happen to anyone, and there's no guarantee that the justice system will be on your side. Make sure you are protected for the legal battle after your self-defense battle. While you protect your family and property, U.S. Law Shield is here to defend you 24/7, 365 days a year, with a comprehensive self-defense coverage at affordable price. Bad guys don't take days off, and neither does our coverage. Listeners, you can get a free T-shirt when you use the promo code Gun Owners Radio. You just have to sign up today. Go to uslawshield.com.
All right, our guest today, Lanny Barnes, also known as Lanny Oakley. She is a 3-time Olympic biathlete, professional 3-gunner, artist, public speaker, chef, and she's been a professional competitor since 1999. So we wanted to have her come on the show and talk to us a little bit about her career.
You bring on a chef, and you don't have her in here cooking?
Yeah, I know, right? Lanny, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I wish I was there to cook you guys something, but I'm on the other side of the country.
Where are you out of?
I just pulled into Georgia. I'm from Colorado, but I'm heading to South Carolina for an event.
Oh, wow. A shooting event?
It's actually a trade show, and then got a shooting event in Florida over the weekend.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Putting some miles on your car.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much do you travel for your shooting events?
You know, I travel a lot. I'm on the road quite a bit, but you know, it's one of the perks of the job to be able to travel around and meet so many wonderful people.
Now, how do you do that? How do you set up your calendar? Like, how do you know where to go and you know which competitions? I mean, it seems like every town with a range has a competition, and you know some of them are real informal, and some of them are pretty important. You know, how is that determined? Which ones you go to and which ones you pass?
You know, I usually set up my schedule at least a year in advance, just because it can get pretty busy. But I just kind of pick the matches that interest me the most and are, in my opinion, most challenging and might have the best competition there.
That's awesome. And do you do three gun? Is that what you do most often?
Yeah. Right now, mostly 3-gun, but a little PCC and handgun and pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything. What is PCC?
Yeah.
I don't think I know.
Caliber carbine.
Pistol caliber carbine. Okay. So like the what is your PCC?
I shoot a JP5, and really like that thing.
Nice. What do you like about it?
I think probably the thing I like the most about it, which I didn't think I would, is the fact that it's so light. I can just drive that thing from one target to the other real easily, and it's really fast shooting that thing.
Joe, you just bought a PCC, didn't you? Which one did you buy?
Yeah, I got a Ruger PCC for my wife. Actually, she shoots that one, and it is definitely not light. That one's heavy, but then I'm not competing with it either. So, but it's a lot of fun to shoot. They're a blast.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think there's actually the PCC sport is going to help bring in a lot of new shooters, and especially women, just because there's not a lot of noise and it's a lot of fun to shoot. So it should be a good one for shooting sports.
That's cool. How did you get into all this?
My dad was very passionate about hunting and shooting, and he had 3 girls, and so he just kind of raised us shooting and hunting and having as much fun as we can.
So how did you transition from hunting and from just kind of doing it on your own and doing a little hunting? How did you transition to being a professional?
It's a good question. So my twin sister and I, who were competing in small bore prone, we ran into a guy who was working with a U.S. biathlon team. And biathlon is cross-country skiing and shooting for those people who don't know about it. And he said, you 2 girls are in the wrong sport. You need something that's a little more active. And he was right. And we tried it out and absolutely fell in love with it. And for us, it was as close to hunting on skis as you get in the Olympics, because biathlon originated as a form of hunting on skis. And just the combination of the 2 sports, endurance and then the skill sport of shooting, just really hooked us.
I think the only reason I know about the biathlon is What was that? There was a James Bond movie where which one was that? Which one had the biathlon, and which James Bond was that?
I don't remember which one it is, but one of the ones with Sean Connery, I think.
Oh, was it? I thought it was one of the. I thought it was one of the ones with Roger. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look it up. Anyway,
that's a good one.
So, what was it like competing? You were actually a 3-time Olympic biathlete. What was it like competing in that at that league?
It's one of those sports that's very unforgiving, but like I said, when the two sports come together, there's no better feeling in the world, and to be able to represent your country, in my opinion, there's no greater honor.
So talk about it. Like, what exactly happened? What was your experience?
So I competed in 3 Olympics, and each one was very, very different. First one was in 2006 in Torino, second one in Vancouver in Canada, and third one in Russia, Sochi. And first one was with my twin sister. Second one, she barely missed making the team, and I had the best U.S. finish up until that point, until this Olympic Games. And then last one, both my twin sister and I were heavy favorites to make the team. I got sick at the final trial. She rocked it, made the team, and then turned around and gave her spot to me so that I could go.
Really? That's wow. What a sister.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what was it like being around all the other? What was it like being? I don't think there are a lot of other countries out there that really embrace the shooting sports like the United States. So, what was it like talking to the other competitors? Being an American.
It's really weird being in biathlon because it's actually right now it's the number one most popular winter sport in Europe. It surpassed downhill skiing and hockey and all those other sports, and it's a gun sport. And the Europeans and the International Biathlon Union did a really great job at making it more of a sport than a gun sport. And they made it very spectator friendly. We'll have anywhere from 30 to 50,000 spectators watching us, and it's really exciting. And it's kind of weird going over to Europe and having a huge crowd in a gun sport, and then coming back to the U.S. and maybe getting our parents to come and watch.
Lanny, when you're competing in a biathlon, what are the distances? Because you've got to ski, and then you have to stop and do some kind of precision shot. So you've got to quiet yourself down and then go again. So what distances are you skiing and shooting on those things?
Yeah, so our longest race is about 9 miles, 10 miles, and our shortest is about 5 or 6. And usually we'll do a lap, which is at least a mile before we can come in to shoot. We carry the gun on our back like a backpack, and we ski into the shooting range, lay down on a mat, shoot prone, and we have 5 shots for 5 targets. And if you miss, you have to ski an extra 150 meters, and you're shooting at 50 meters. That's the distance, and it's always the same range that you come back in.
So is it a challenge to quiet your heart down and before you can make that shot, or are you guys in such good shape that it really doesn't go up, so it doesn't matter?
Well, actually, that's probably the biggest misconception with biathlon is people think that we get in that Zen moment and calm our heart rate down to, like 30 beats per minute. But we actually shoot with a heart rate around 180 beats per minute. And the reason being is that
that's my resting heart rate, by the way.
That's pretty incredible. But biathlon became so popular that you didn't have time to drop your heart rate. And so if you come in at 180 beats per minute, it actually makes it easier to shoot. And I know it sounds funny, but if you think of an EKG, the peaks and valleys, the more time you have between beats, the more barrel movement. So at 180, it's just a tiny little hump. So you have a very, very controlled movement. At 130, 140, you have that big thud of time between your heart rates. So you get more barrel movement.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. We were fooling around at the range on Friday, and we were just shooting a little Ruger 1022, but we were shooting at Q-tips about 15 yards out, and just watching, trying to steady the rifle down enough to hit a Q-tip at 15 yards was challenging, and I know my heart rate probably wasn't at 130, but still it was challenging to do that. I was really surprised, actually.
What kind of gun are you using when you're shooting a biathlon?
So in biathlon, we use 22 caliber, and they're mostly on shoots. No one has really made a rifle that is good enough to compete with on shoots. So they kind of hold monopoly on the biathlon.
I can't quite. It's called on shoot.
On shoots.
On shoots.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
German rifle.
Oh, cool. Wow, the Germans, are all about precision and rifles, aren't they?
Yep.
Well, that's cool. So have you noticed, I mean, there's a lot of, everything that's gone on the last couple of years with COVID and the mostly peaceful protests and, everything that's gone on and the chaotic, a little bit of a chaotic world for the last couple of years. So we've had a lot of new gun owners. Is that something you've come across when you've been traveling?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have requests all the time from people for training courses and just people asking questions on, saying that they really feel like they need to become a new gun owner and what should they get and how should they go about learning how to shoot and, the things like that. So I've encountered that quite a bit.
Nice. I mean, it's exciting, right?
It is, yeah, and I think it can definitely be a good thing, and I really hope that the new gun owners are, taking that responsibility of going out and getting the training or finding someone that can teach them how to do it properly.
That's something we work on a lot here in San Diego for sure. We have a lot of different programs where we've done a lot of outreach to new shooters in hopes of, gathering as many as we can to teach them what they need to know. So, Lanny, we're gonna go to break here. We hang out with us for one more segment?
Absolutely.
Well, does selling your home feel overwhelming? Well, it doesn't have to be that way with Scott Vinson from Coldwell Banker Royal Realty. Scott Vinson is the perfect guy to help you sell or buy your home. Scott has also been a San Diego County Gun Owner board member from the start. So if you're moving, let fellow Second Amendment supporter and real estate broker Scott Vinson help you sell your home and find your new home anywhere in the United States. Call him today at 619-948-2459. Tell him that you heard about him on Gun Owners Radio. Call Scott at 619-948-2459 or online at scottvinson.com, and that's VINSON. All
right, we're talking to professional three-gunner, artist, public speaker, chef, and three-time Olympic biathlete Lanny Barnes. Lanny, we got a flood of messages when we were on the air. People wanted us to know it was for your eyes only, and that was a Roger Moore movie where they featured the biathlon. So we got to the bottom of that, Lanny.
There we go.
Yeah, we can both get some sleep tonight.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So we have one of our co-hosts here is Action Jackson. How old are you, Jackson?
8.
He's 8 years old. Every week, just about every week, he goes and practices with a coach shooting what gun do you shoot most often?
I am currently shooting a Glock 44 chambered in 9mm.
Yeah. 8-year-old, and he goes through hundreds of rounds with a trainer. Excellent job. He's just getting into he wants to start getting into, competition, probably something, IPSC or IDPA or something along those lines. What advice do you have for him or for anybody that wants to get into competition shooting?
Probably the best advice that I was given was to keep it fun. Shooting is one of those sports that you can do your entire life. I mean, look at Jerry Mitchell. He's been doing it forever. And because you can do it so long, you have to make sure that you love it and enjoy it. Otherwise, if you get burnt out, then, it's hard to stick with it long term.
Interesting. So how do you keep it? What do you do to keep it fun?
Well, I don't know if you've ever visited my Instagram or social media pages.
I have. That's actually why I'm asking, basically. Yeah. So talk about some of the things you do to keep it fun that you show on your IG and other social media.
Yeah. So as a 3-time Olympian, having competed and trained at the highest level in sport, it's easy to get burnt out at having done that with the regular training. And so what I do is I'll put in the work with the regular training, the bill drills and the repetitions and dry fire and stuff like that. But at the end of every practice, I give myself some sort of challenge, and it's usually a trick shot. My twin sister will come up with something, or I'll come up with something, and then I'll try it out, and sometimes it's successful, sometimes not, but it's always something to look forward to at the end of training.
Well, I mean, it's got to be frustrating. I mean, you're on the road, you go halfway across the country, enter a competition, you got to, pull into the hotel or whatever, and you got to go to this new place you've never been, and you got to sign up and blah, 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 blah. That stuff's wearing. That stuff wears you out. And then if you don't have a good day, or you're getting halfway through the competition and things just aren't going your way, and, that's got to be, like, what do you do? Like, how do you keep from, throwing your baseball glove down and going home and saying, I quit. Like, how do you know what I mean? How do you regulate your frustration?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because no matter what level you're at, you're always going to get frustrated. There's going to be days where things aren't going right and you get frustrated. But, for me, I've always been one of those people that I don't quit no matter what.
Nice.
And, I have that drive that I push myself, but I also think of the other people that help me along the way, because no one gets to where they're at or succeeds or anything without the help of family and friends and coaches and, things like that. So I always think about those people that have helped me along the way, and that gives me motivation to keep going. So
do you travel? Do you have an entourage or a group or a coach, or is it just like when you're working at home, you work with your coach?
No, I actually don't have a coach. It's me, myself, and I. And
wow.
When I was training for the Olympics in biathlon, we had a huge entourage with the U.S. Olympic Committee and the U.S. Biathlon Association coaches and staff. But now, as a professional shooter, it's usually just myself.
Wow. So Jackson's got a couple questions for you. What was the question you wanted to ask?
So, first, what's your favorite gun to shoot?
Good question.
That's a really, really good question. People ask that all the time, and I would have to say my Olympic biathlon rifle, because it competed in 3 Olympics, and it's very special and not replaceable. But it's so hard, because I love shooting so much that I love every gun I'm shooting at that moment.
Wow. Well, when you're doing 3 guns, he's got one more question, but before we go to the next question, you're doing 3 guns, so that's pistol, rifle, and shotgun. So what typically do you use? What's your go-to handgun when you're shooting 3 gun?
I shoot a staccato 9mm and the XL, and absolutely love it. Handgun has always been a challenge for me. I'm, a rifle shooter by trade, and so I've been really, really hammering hard on the training for handgun to get better over the years.
Wow. Why do you think it is? Why do you think that? What's the struggle? Why do you think there's a struggle with handgun?
I think just because I grew up as a long gun shooter, and I didn't start shooting a handgun until probably 2014, and right about the time when I retired from my Olympic career. And so there was a little bit of a learning curve, switching over from long gun to a handgun for sure.
Interesting. When you're doing 3 gun, what's your rifle?
I use a JP-15, 2G3.
Yeah, those guys are pretty good, right? I've heard really good things.
Yeah, yeah, they're really, no one can match their accuracy, and I've been shooting with them since 2014, and absolutely love them.
I've heard that. I was going to put a brake on my AR. I was going to put one of their brakes on my AR, but I bought my AR a long time ago, and I wanted an AK, and they talked me into the guy at the shop. I didn't know what I was doing. This is over 20 years ago, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted an AK because it was in Red Dawn, and he talked me into getting an AR. So I ended up getting an AR, but now I have it. It's got an AK-74 brake on it, and I refuse to go. So I have an AR with an AK brake on it, and I refuse to change. But I was looking at one of their brakes. I shot it on another friend of mine's. You don't really think about that either, how important a brake is. Like, what does it really, really do? And I shot one of their brakes on a friend of mine on his AR, And what it does, and maybe you can explain it better, is your follow-up shot, you don't have to, your gun doesn't move. If you get the right break on your AR and you shoot, and you got your glass and everything lined up, and you pull the trigger and do everything right, you don't have to re-aim, basically. Your gun stays put, right? Isn't that kind of what you're looking for out of a good break?
Yeah, absolutely. And JP has been known for that. Their muzzle brakes and things like that, they've really mastered it. I mean, that's why I love their PCC so much. The JP5 it's basically pointed so that the gas goes straight up. So when you shoot, the gas goes up, it keeps the muzzle down, and there's absolutely no recoil on it. It's like shooting a 22. It's kind of like cheating.
It's kind of like cheating. Yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, I'm not, I'm not sponsored by them. I don't know, but I was really impressed by their break. Like I said, the only reason I don't have one on my AR is because I have kind of a sentimental thing going on with my stupid AR. Now, I think that's probably a good excuse, Lanny, to buy another. Maybe I should buy a second AR, right?
Yeah, everybody's got to have at least 2, maybe 3.
There you go. Well, if you talk to the guys, let them know that there's this little radio show out in San Diego, and there's a guy on there that only has one AR. So maybe you can. Hint, hint.
You got it. I'll put in a good word.
All right, Jackson, we got another question, didn't you? What were you going to ask her?
Do you do any other Olympics?
That's a good question. I only competed in 3 Olympics in biathlon, but my twin sister and I have always talked about jumping into another sport for summer or things like that. But
Greco-Roman wrestling.
We have to, or ping pong. I'm okay at ping pong.
Really? Seriously? That's pretty interesting. Do you guys really play a lot of ping pong?
Yeah, we actually did quite a bit of ping pong growing up. We had one our family would play, and then that besides soccer, that was another thing where you travel the world, and that was kind of international language, soccer and ping pong. No matter where you went, people knew how to play both sports.
That's interesting. Why did you try? You say you traveled the world when you were a kid?
Travel the world for competitions.
Oh, okay, for competitions.
So, yeah.
There was always a ping pong table set up, huh?
Always a ping pong table and a little soccer match somewhere.
So, Lanny, it's we live in California. At least the show's in California, and we have most of our listeners are here in San Diego or in Southern California. It's a rough world out here for gun owners. Politically, culturally, we're doing a good job of changing that. But what advice do you have? What would you like to see gun owners do? How would you like them to get involved, or what are your thoughts when you read the news and hear about the struggles of gun owners across the country? What do you think? What should we be doing more of?
I think it's one of those things where I'm from Colorado, so we have a lot of the same issues. I call Colorado California light because it seems like if you guys do something, it follows in our state as well. But I think one of the things is people just need to realize how important and how special the right to bear arms is. I've traveled the entire world and been in countries where they don't have these rights, and I think a lot of Americans take that for granted, and I think taking pride in the fact that you are a gun owner and you can do something about it. A lot of people think, oh, I'm too busy, I can't, there's nothing I could do. But one letter or one phone call or just something every once in a while will make a big difference. Yeah,
join an organization. I say that I'm probably a little biased because I run an organization. I'm trying to get more people to join it. But I got to tell you, help support the folks that are supporting your Second Amendment rights. Lanny, if people want to follow you, where should they go?
They can check me out on social media, Lanny Oakley, or lannyoakley.com.
All right. Hey.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel. Or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.